and gets the kill from the back row. Not easy to get a kill from the back row, but Weber makes it very comfortable and confident in that position.
Well, and it's a strange angle coming off her hand, and so that it's hard to read that. It looks like she's going to hit straight forward, and then it came off her hand towards her right. The defense's left. Difficult ball to play. Another back row attack.
And another kill. This time it's Amy Held.
It looks like the back row attack may be part of UNI's game plan for this evening. And she's up against a triple block, and it just goes off the hands of the blocker and down. Anytime the ball touches the blocker's hands and changes the direction, it's harder for the defense.
Panthers have tied it up here, and they have their first lead of the night. Panthers first to double digits, leading 10-9 in the opening set. Patience. I mean, right. Iowa State looked like they were going to run away with it, but any fan of volleyball knows it's all about the game of runs. Good hustle by Sorgi.
You see why she was the libero of the week for the conference.
Coming off a great weekend, honored by the Missouri Valley Conference.
Smart play by Hook.
Point for Iowa State.
So what happened that time? The ball was so tight, and Heather Hook had to try and get to it and set it. But since she's front row and the ball's so tight, she couldn't quite set it. So she just tried to joust with the Iowa State blocker, but the Iowa State blocker ended up winning that battle. But it's a hard choice to make, and a good one on her part, even though she lost the point.
Heather Hook, the junior setter out of Grundy Center, Iowa. Won the starting position last year. Won it again this year. There's a kill by the freshman Carly Taylor.
You know,
sometimes you have
to take a couple swings at it, but it's that back corner. I like that she's aggressive and swinging at it. You know, it hit the blocker's hands the first time, and she didn't give up. She took another hard swing, and I like aggressive.
Aggressive swing there by Lazard, sophomore out of London, England. Quick set. Good up by Kayla Hainline, who's usually dominant in the front row, but shows her ability to get down. But the point to Iowa State. Here's the replay.
Well, and one of the reasons that Hainline was able to play that so easily is the blocks doing their job. They're funneling the ball to the back row defense, and even though a lot of times you think that the block needs to be blocking the ball, it also needs to make sure that it's kind of making that ball go to the players in the back row.
Thomas with a big attack. Piper Thomas. And no, excuse me, that was Carly Taylor again. So Taylor racking up the kills here. For UNI, she has 3 to lead the Panthers. And another point for UNI. Cyclones getting a bit rattled here, it seems.
Well, and it would be hard to play against the home crowd team in this crowd, but they've played against teams in big crowds before. They just need to kind of settle down and get the job done.
Lindsay Scholes, one of the seniors on the team from Carroll, Iowa, with the point for UNI. Good volley again between these two teams. Little tip. And the Panthers can't get there. Smart decision by Iowa State. And Morgan Kurt goes up and over the block.
Well, that ball should have been dug by the Panthers, but that is what you need to do. The Panthers right now are touching every ball on defense. They're getting, touches on balls that we haven't seen them get before and sending it back over. And so Iowa State's doing a good job of mixing it up, hammering it, tipping. That kind of thing is what you need to do when a defense is touching everything.
Capizio to serve for Iowa State. Quick set, quick result. Piper Thomas, she's just a sophomore. She brings size, athleticism.
And that is a perfect picture of why you set the quick, because you could see that the block didn't have time to get all the way over and get closed, and so it leaves wide open 2 angles for the hitter.
Bobby said that she's a big jumper and moves efficiently both laterally and on and off the net. Cyclones with the point. We're right at that midway point of this opening set. Would love to go ahead But this has the feelings, this is at least going 4, potentially 5 here tonight.
Well, you got to expect any intrastate rivalry to go 5 sets. I mean, you just have to. And it may go extra time in each of those sets.
Amy Held, the libero the last couple of years for UNI with the attack as she changed positions. The Panthers working those middles. Piper Thomas, and a nice play by Heather Hook again.
And that's a smart play. It was the second contact, so of course Iowa State's not quite ready for it. The setter didn't have time to get in there and take the ball, and so she just sent it over and got the kill.
Back set, up off the tip, a whistle, and in the net. Charged against Iowa State.
Well, and a great defensive play by UNI.
Take a look at the replay.
See what... Oh, it must have been after. Oh, it doesn't even look like it. Did it look like it to you? It's hard to tell. However, I would not want the job of a referee, so we'll let them keep their job.
Keep an eye on the foot. Crossed over.
Actually, the foot can cross over as long as it stays in contact with that white line.
The call stands at 16-13, and right now, Iowa State has used both their timeouts, Barb. And what do you like about the way UNI is playing in this portion of this opening set?
Well, the defense. I think the defense is what is doing the job for them right now. It's getting touches on balls. It's sending balls over unexpectedly. Iowa State thinks they have the kill. They think they have the point, but somehow UNI gets it up or sends it over on a second contact because of the defense they're playing.
Well, UNI Volleyball is brought to you by Casey's General Store. This month at Casey's General Stores, get a large made-from-scratch Supreme Pizza for only $13.99. Casey's, famous for pizza. 16-13 is our score. Fans have come and taken advantage of a great ticket promotion and the fact that it's the first home volleyball match of the year for the Panthers, a team that historically is in the top 10 in the nation in Division I volleyball for home crowd attendance. Now's when things get interesting, though. Sorgi. Service error, missed by an eyelash. She had 6 service aces coming into tonight, just a couple of service errors. She serves aggressively, just a bit too aggressive on that one. Kurt. The Panthers, it was touched, so UNI gets the point. Iowa State wondering who touched it.
One of the things I was going to say when you were talking about the serve, different coaches have different philosophies on the serve. I was watching the Olympics this summer, and Karch Karai, the coach for the women's national team, his philosophy is serve aggressively. So he knows that by saying that, they're going to get some aces, but they're also going to have some errors. And sometimes, coaches will say, this match or this set, we need to serve safely. Depending on what's going on, the philosophies could change throughout each match, too.
So much strategy in this game of volleyball, especially at this critical juncture of 17-15. It's the first team to win 3 games or 3 sets. They win the overall match. So we've seen time and time again, a team loses the first 2 and then has to win the next 3, and they do just that. But it puts them in a much more precarious situation. Berta, the serve. Panthers in the white. And the attack from Held. Free ball, and they caught the Panthers sleeping again, almost the exact same spot. And Sinnott can't get there.
Well, and that's one thing that Iowa State has obviously seen maybe from their scouting or maybe just because of this match, but that's a spot that UNI is going to have to make sure that they protect.
Ashley Sinnott was sidelined for a couple of matches with a left ankle sprain. So maybe not playing at 100% tonight. Little tip. Panthers trying to give the Cyclones a taste of their own medicine. They got to hit it over. Now the back row attack, which has been successful in this opening set for UNI. Off the slide. Out of bounds.
However, there was a net violation, so the point will go to UNI.
A big break there for UNI. Instead of it being 18 instead of it being 17-17, it's now 18-16. And a chance for one of the more dangerous servers for UNI, Amy Held. Big swing. That's Capizio. Panthers love the hustle. That'll get the crowd into it. Setter, hook. Joust. Point UNI, but in the net.
Huh, I didn't see that net. I'm sitting right even with that. I didn't see that net at all. But again, I am not questioning the judgment of the refs. Yeah.
Hard to be perfect as an official every play. I think they're even now. Cyclones got a call. Panthers got a call.
I agree.
18-17. There's a good look at Monique Harris, junior setter out of Clinton, Iowa. Also plays defensive specialist. Overpass. Panthers have it. Setting near side. Good swing, but denied by the Cyclones. Give another crack at it. Quick set middle. Blocked. And Hainline's denied. Lazard.
I think that was the right place to go with the set. You want to get it to your senior, the experienced player. But I think Iowa State thought that that's where they were going to go too. So they were ready for it.
Lazard and Capizio teaming up for that brick wall. Out of bounds, no touch the call. We've seen Carly Taylor, the freshman, with not finding a lot of success the last couple of times, and a timeout. So no timeouts remaining for either team, as it's a 19-18 lead for Iowa State. Well, Barb, for Iowa State, one of the main storylines in the preseason was who would take over the libero position for Caitlin Nolan, a two-time All-American and Big 12 Libero of the Year. That is a big piece that's not in the Cyclone lineup this year. And they're putting a couple players to the test. Berta ran the show the first 2 weeks. Abby Phillips was libero last weekend at the Cyclone Invitational. Sometimes you just got to try out a couple people before you make your decision.
Well, and the nice thing about that position is if Coach Johnson Lynch doesn't like what she sees from the first set, she can change who the libero is going to be each set. So anybody who could potentially be in that position, they have their different colored jerseys sitting there waiting for them in case they get the call to be the libero.
Christy Johnson Lynch, again, has turned around this Iowa State volleyball program in her 12th season. This wasn't a rivalry before that. I mean, quite honestly, the Panthers steamrolled the Cyclones for years and years, and now the Cyclones have been the dominant of the two teams as of late.
Well, and I'm going to tell you where it hurt most was the recruiting. So when I was at UNI 15 years ago, we got the players that Iowa State is getting now. And so that changes things a little bit, because the kids, it's good for the state, but the kids growing up, they want to play for Iowa State now, where that didn't used to be the case.
Another attack air, and the Panthers have not been real efficient with their swings. Now a 20-18 lead. Panthers get the point there. Quick glance at the stats for UNI. No player with more than 3 kills. Taylor, Hainline, and Thomas each with 3. For Iowa State, Shaban has 4 kills, and Conaway and Capizio each with 2. Shallow serve, back set, slide, got it through. Grace Lazard averaging 1.94 kills.
Well, and you can see on this one, the blocker's hands, they aren't pushed over the net. And you can tell when the ball rolls down in front of you, it's because your hands are going straight up rather than penetrating over the plane of the net.
Lazard's career high is 9 kills. She has 2 here tonight. Joust, point, UNI. And that's your setter, Heather Hook.
She's pretty good at that.
Might not be the tallest or the strongest.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as a former middle blocker, I lost more jousts than I won. setters practice that. They know how to do that, and somehow it's stuck in my craw too, because it just is so frustrating.
Great one-handed save in the back row by Held, and the Panthers get the point. Thomas gets the block. Solo stuff for Piper Thomas. We're knotted up at 21 all. As Thomas looks through the net, through the other side at the Cyclones. Stuffed, but kept alive. Hook, back sets. Scholes. Good swing by the back row for Iowa State. Shaban. Taylor can't get it to go. Good attack by Kurt. And finally, getting it down, it's Grace Lazard again. Long volley, Cyclones with the point.
Well, and coming into this match, I thought if you could get a long rally, it would favor the Panthers. But
why?
Just because I think that their defense is going to help them out, because their offense may not be as strong, so they may need a few more attempts to go after it.
Capizio trying to serve her team the victory here in the first set. Good pass. Back set. A roll shot. Going near sideline this time with Lindsay Scholes. Trouble into the net. Panthers will get the side out and the point. Twos are wild. 22-22 here as Bree Weber comes in to replace the freshman Carly Taylor. Weber to the back row in the rotation. Good up. Nice swing, and the point for the Cyclones. Shaban, that's 5 kills now. She's hitting about close to that 200 mark.
I'd like to know what the scouting report says for the Panthers, because a lot of times their middles are not making it outside to close, and I don't know if that's something they saw on scouting report, and the middles are trying to stay with the middle of the Cyclones, or if it's just they're late.
No one there in the middle for Iowa State, but a good back row play by the Cyclones. 23-22. Set. Hammer time. It's Amy Held, the senior, our CFU Panther watch.
Well, that ball beat the blocker out there. Perfect line set. The blocker didn't close to the pin, and Held was able to hammer it right down the line. The back row player touched it, but she couldn't play it. Or it touched her, maybe I should say. Not
many liberos can make plays like that high above the net.
No, exactly.
Imagine if she was just a couple inches taller.
Yeah. It still amazes me that she was the libero for 2 years and then had to make the switch, and what a great job.
5 feet 9 inches, Amy Held.
Oh,
Cyclones kept it off the court, and they get a point out of it. Wow, Morgan Kurt out of Waverly.
Well, I think the save that she had, I thought it was an open hand save, which is illegal, but again, I'm not a ref, and I don't wish to be the ref, so I will keep my mouth shut.
Game point here. Play to 25, win by 2. Good pass. Here's the set for UNI. The attack down and in. New life for the Panthers. 24-24. And the Panthers with a chance to serve. Nice placement.
Very nice placement. And the Cyclones knew, when the line judge called it in, the Cyclones knew, yeah, that ball was in.
Ashley Sinnott to serve. Again, coming off that injury, suffered a couple weeks ago. You see her with that ankle brace on. Shallow, nice aggressive serve. Returned and down for a point.
It was a net violation, but I'm going to say I still think, I've been watching this all set, and I think the blockers for UNI, I think they're jumping a touch early. This one was not as early as some of them have been, but I think their timing's off just a little bit.
See if they can get that corrected here, as it's a game point again. Cyclones, second time they've faced it, 25-24. Panthers cross-court attack. Blocked at the net. Cyclones work it to the outside. Good up by Weber. Shoe comes off of held. She still gets a good attack. Tips it up. Playing with one shoe on, one off.
My son John. It's in.
And it's in.
That was something. Her shoe just fell off. I don't know how it even came off.
There's shoeless Joe.
But you know what they say, the show must go on.
Amy, the senior. She got a couple blocks, a couple ups, all with one
shoe on.
I'm worthless with one on, one off. 25-25. We said this had the potential to go to overtime, some free volleyball, and that's what we're living in right now. Denied. A block party here in the McLeod Center.
We don't have the right angle on it, but her hands were just over the net, kind of like the slope of a roof of a house, and that ball went straight down.
Carly Taylor, the freshman. Panthers with game point. Cyclones set it to the outside. Sorgi keeps it up. Out of bounds. More volleyball here. Neither team willing to give up here in this first set.
I think when Hook is dumping the ball now, I think she needs to try a different angle. They're sitting on her at that right back corner, or not really corner, but right back angle. I think she needs to try a different spot.
26-26 in front of a near sold-out McLeod Center here in Cedar Falls. Panthers and Cyclones. Cyclones with the point. What is this? The fourth time they've had game point. The Panthers have denied them the previous 3 times. Here's the serve from Harris. Good up. Good swing. Cyclones in system, and a mistake. That's more a mental error than anything else. A ball handling miscue gives the ball back to UNI, and it tied at 27. Well, this is fun, Barb.
This is what we came for.
If this is any indication of what's coming up in the second, third, and potentially fourth and fifth set, you got to stay glued to your TV screens. Good attack. There is some talented volleyball out there, and that's Jess Shaben again for Iowa State. There's just no answer for her.
Well, she does a really nice job. She swings from a high point, hits from a high point, and that's the key when you're playing Division I, high-level collegiate volleyball.
Game point again for the Cyclones. Panthers have to tip it over, and it's well out of bounds. Didn't come easy, but Iowa State wins the opening set. Final score 29-27. Cyclones up 1-0, but it's the first team to win 3 sets wins the match. Back in a minute, you're watching Panther Volleyball here on the Panther Sports Network.
Crust. Fresh.
Iowa State wins the opening set 1-0. They have the lead in the series. And here is a look at a wild play toward the end of that first set. Amy held the outside hitter, loses her shoe, sticks with it like any serious Division I athlete would. Slips a little there, and the Panthers get the point. The team to celebrate, but first to put the shoe on. 7 kills to lead the Cyclones. Capizio had 3, and Kurt, Conway, and Lazard each with 2. For UNI, very balanced attack. Held with 4 kills, Hainline with 4, and it's Taylor and Thomas with 3 each. 16 kills for UNI, 17 for the Cyclones, 4 team blocks for UNI, 2 team blocks for Iowa State. Both hit around that 150 attack percentage. Really, it's hard to find much separation between those two schools in that first set.
Well, that's why it was so close and went overtime, as we like to call it.
There were 12 ties in the first set, 4 lead changes. Cyclones jumped out to that early lead in the opening set. The Panthers had to dig themselves out of the hole. Right now it's UNI with the first lead of the second set. Barb Randall, Eric Braley with the call here for the Panther Sports Network. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful evening. If you're not in the McLeod Center, you're enjoying Panther Volleyball and Cyclone Volleyball here on the Panther Sports Network.
Well, and that's the first, what I call 3 set that we've seen from either team. It's about 10 feet away from the setter. It's a quick set, and it's meant to go between the middle blocker and the right side blocker. And UNI closed the block well on that.
Weber coming off the injury for UNI with the serve. And almost the exact opposite of how the first set started. UNI looks like the stronger of the two teams. When you put so much emotionally into winning that first set, maybe it's hard to, okay, let's take a 2-minute break and then step back out there to start the second.
Well, but as we've seen, it really doesn't matter because the momentum pendulum swings back and forth, and we're going to see it continue to do that throughout the match.
Amy held with the kill there on the outside. Last touched by the Cyclones, falls out of bounds. Barb, for our viewers, a libero. What is that and their roles in tonight's match?
Well, I'm glad you asked because even though the libero's been in the game for 10 or 15 years, I still get questions. The libero is the person on the team who's wearing a different colored jersey. For UNI, she's wearing a purple jersey. For Iowa State, she's wearing a white jersey. And it's a defensive specialty position. So they can only play defense. They can't attack from the back row. They can serve. They don't count as a substitution. Each team only gets 12 substitutions a set, and they don't come as a substitution. They don't have to stand in the substitution area. They just run off and on with the person that they trade with. And it's because when they switched to rally scoring rather than side-out scoring, they wanted to do something to extend the rally, so they added the specialist in defense.
And that, viewers, is what a libero is. Well, a timeout here as the Panthers lead 5-0 in the second set. Iowa State leads overall 1-0 in the match. And Panther Volleyball is brought to you by the Cedar Falls Tourism and Visitors Bureau and the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau. Check out visitthecedarvalley.org/Go Panthers to make your plans today. If you haven't been to visit the Cedar Valley, so much to do here. And so many people on student athletes on the roster for UNI, born and raised here in the Cedar Valley. You can just go down the list and you have Janesville, you have Grundy Center,
Dyke,
Waterloo,
New Hartford,
Dyke, Jessup.
It's awesome. And that's one of the things that Bobby Peterson has done always is recruit the Iowa kids. And she's kind of, in my opinion, she kind of does with volleyball what Kirk Ferentz does with football. She takes the athlete. Almost every kid on this team is a multi-sport athlete. She takes the athlete and turns them into volleyball players.
Another point for UNI. Bree Weber out of Dyke, New Hartford, Iowa, with the service ace.
Well, one thing about Bree Weber that I think is absolutely incredible, she is a 4-time consecutive state champion in volleyball in high school.
Not too many people have that on their resume.
No.
4 consecutive state titles, all-state elite squad, all 4 years as well. Is the route on? I mean, 7-0, you got that second time out. When do you wait to use it if you're head
You don't
coach
use
Christy
it yet.
Johnson
That's
Lynch?
exactly right. You don't use it yet. You start doing substitutions, which is what she's doing.
Coming in is Genesis Miranda, senior out of Puerto Rico, transferred from Evansville.
Well, and because of the comeback aspect and there's no time limit in the sport of volleyball, 7 points is nothing.
That's a good coaching decision right there.
Yeah.
You put a player in and immediately Miranda with the kill. She's very familiar with the UNI volleyball team, having played at the University of Evansville. Was named to the all-freshman team in the Missouri Valley Conference in 2014. And last year's second All-MVC. A kill right down the line, and the Panthers quickly get a side out.
Well, and I don't know if that was intentional or not to go against the player who just came in, but they went right at her, and she just had the kill, so she's not too cool yet, but got to warm her up by going at her.
Running tip, Hainline's there. Weber, the back row attack. Again, a lot of success from UNI with that back row attack in the first set. And another kill for Iowa State, Capizio. She has 4 kills in this match.
Well, in that back row attack, it's harder to defend because you can't see it as well. The block doesn't have as good of a shot at it and can't funnel it as well. And if it hits the block, chances are it's going flying somewhere. So it just makes it adds a little bit of difficulty to defend it.
Kayla Hainline, the senior leader with the kill. Hainline out of Plattsmouth, Nebraska, preseason All-MVC. Been held relatively in check. That's her 5th kill.
Well, and when the middles are held in check, that means that usually the passing is not where the setter wants it to be able to offer all 3 options in the offense.
Point for Iowa State. And the Cyclones just trying to dig themselves out of a deep hole. Again, you see on the bottom corner of your screen next to that Casey's General Store logo, Cyclones won the first set by a score of 29-27. Hainline, now the Cyclones. Shaban, and it's going to be 2 contacts against UNI. There you see the attack.
Tough call. I think double hits are unless they're really, really obvious, they're difficult to call.
Cyclones in the cardinal red, Panthers in the white tops, purple bottoms. Ball was tipped before it went out of bounds. And now the Panthers making some miscues here. Man, the ball flies so fast. Got to make a split-second decision. Set to Held. Hammer time. Amy Held.
That time the middle blocker for Iowa State didn't go out to block. She actually thought that Heather Hook was going to back set it, and so she moved to cover that way and then didn't go out to block. One of the things that I tell middle blockers, especially young middle blockers, is go anyway, because you get more blocks being late because the hitter doesn't think you're there, and then you show up all of a sudden and you get a ton of blocks that way. So always, always, always go.
That block, they were set up about 20 minutes before. They knew exactly what was coming. They had it scouted out, and Hainline and Hook teamed up for that block, and the Panthers up 11-5. Sinnott pops it up to the outside. Beautiful up by Held again. Tooled out of bounds. Last touch by Iowa State. Carly Taylor with the point. Taylor now starting to warm up a bit. She has 4 kills.
Well, what a great defensive play that was. Again, it all starts with the defense.
Close to a service ace, but the Cyclones, Capizio keeps it up. And that's in. That's in. All about placement. Watch as Kayla Hainline goes line. And it's a 13-5 lead for the Panthers here in the second set, trying to even out the series. Cyclones call their second and final timeout of the second game. This one has a different feel than that first set.
Well, it started out similarly, but Iowa State has not been able to make the run that UNI did in the first set.
Here's the last 2 points replayed on your screen there.
Iowa
She
State
knew
had
she
a
was
nice
going to get blocked. Yeah. Tips it out, and then going to the middle. And Kayla Hainline. So many weapons offensively on both teams. Look at the McLeod Center filled up here on the UNI campus, and the student Panthers holding Iowa State to a negative 105 attack percentage in the set. Meanwhile, UNI's hitting .429 here in the second.
Well, one of the things that I'm sure Coach Peterson talked to her team about is you can't let up. You can't take a breath. Keep pushing on that pedal. Keep it going.
That's 535 percentage point difference in attack percentage between the Panthers and the Cyclones here in the second. Out of the second and final timeout, Conaway and the Cyclones get the point.
Well, and I love that the Panthers are trying to go to the middle. You know, I'm a little bit biased, but sometimes you also have to make sure that you're in good position and you can actually set a hittable ball.
Berta out of Aurora, Colorado. Service error. The Panthers' lead is 8. And Hainline back to serve. How nice is that when you have a big player that can play the back row as well?
It's definitely a huge plus. You want to be, as a coach, you always want to have 6 rotation players. You want to make sure that your players can do everything. Hit, set, pass, play defense. Well, and serve. But it means a lot, especially if the player has to stay in for some reason. They know what they're doing.
Back-to-back service errors. First for the Cyclones, then for the Panthers. Cyclones got a long way to go to get back into this one, though. An attack error going high and out of bounds was Taylor. Bobby Peterson likes Carly Taylor because she's very athletic, loves to compete, and has a lot of experience on the court. Her ball control and defense are strong, and also has potential to be a primary passer. Thomas. Held, blocked. Taylor. Capizio tried to get it over, and another attack error. So the Panthers were hitting .429, and that's dropping pretty quickly. Now hitting just .150 this set.
Well, I like that she's swinging aggressively and swinging deep. She just kind of needs to snap her wrist a little bit to bring that ball down in the last part of the court.
Bump, set, the attack, return to UNI's side of the net. And another block. The Cyclones have really stepped it up a couple of notches here as Bree Weber coming in to replace Carly Taylor.
Well, and the Cyclones are on a 4-point run right now, so UNI needs to make sure they get this side out and stop that bleeding.
A 4-point run brings them within 4. Setter dump. Overpass. Into the net, and the Panthers needed that side out.
Well, and I was going to say this a little bit earlier. It looks like they're trying to run Jess Shaben from the back row on a little bit of a what is called a back row quick, and it's just not working for them. The set has been way too low, and I think I would raise that a little bit until we got that down a little bit better.
Hook, back set, Scholes. Cyclones go to the middle and get the kill. 15-11, quick side out there. And that is the third kill for Grace Lazard.
That's what we talked about. I think it was one of the first couple plays where the Cyclones tried what I call a 3-set, which is about 10 feet away from the setter. That time it worked because UNI only got one blocker up with her.
To serve for Iowa State, this is Suzanne Horner out of State College, Pennsylvania, transferred from Mississippi State. Another kill, a substitution midway through the second set, bringing in Genesis Miranda, the transfer out of Puerto Rico, transferring from Evansville. And now we have a 3-point game. Service error. The Panthers again 5-4 overall. This is their first home match of the year. 1-3 in games on the road, true road games. 4-1 on neutral courts. But 3 of the 4 losses this season for UNI come against teams ranked in the top 25. Battle tested.
They are battle tested, and I love how Coach Peterson schedules her team so that they're ready at the end of the season when it comes down to every match matters.
Both these teams made the NCAA tournament last year. Hook would like to have that one back. As the Cyclones hanging tough, making the run, but a service error. We've seen a handful of service errors here in the second set. And that might ultimately be the difference, as Kendall Sorge, sophomore defensive specialist, now libero, out of Janesville, averaging 4.07 digs per set. Another kill.
That was Miranda playing the right side over there. It looked like there was only one blocker up for UNI. Again, the middles have to go. Even if they're going to be late, they have to put something up. Not that it would have mattered that time, but it's the making sure that it happens every single time so your team knows you're going to be there.
Miranda's been the difference maker for Iowa State. She has 4 kills since coming in when the Cyclones were down 6-0. Panthers send Ashley Sinnott to serve. Majoring in marketing with an emphasis in management. Senior out of Waterloo, Columbus.
Oh.
An easy point there for Kayla Hainline. What happened, Barb?
Well, they didn't call it, but that could have easily been called over the net. So on an overpass, the only time that you can reach over the net, over the plane of the net and touch the ball is when the ball's being attacked at you. If it's a pass, you can't touch it until it breaks the plane of the net, and I think that could have easily been called. But as a former middle blocker, I'm okay if they don't call it.
How are you supposed to patiently wait when you see that ball just hanging there?
You're drooling.
Weber, probably not 100%, but close to it in action here. Didn't get the start. Quick set, Hainline tapped it right back over to the Cyclones. Good swing by Conaway, tracked down by the libero Phillips. Another long volley. If you're just joining us, we've had a ton of these. Ball was out of bounds, not touched by Iowa State. Panthers asking for a tip, not getting it, and it's now 19-15. Panthers have not trailed here in the second set. Played a 25, win by 2. Cyclones won the first set 29-27.
Well, that's at least 4 serves that Iowa State has put into the net. One of the things coaches say is if you're going to miss your serve, not like you're trying to miss it, but if you're going to miss it, your serve, miss it long, because if you miss it long, the other team still has to make a decision. If you miss it into the net, no decision needs to be made. You already know what's happening.
Very true. Yeah, the Panthers have had 3 service errors.
And that could happen if you you think it's going long and let it go.
And that is the second service ace for UNI. Puts them up 21-15. Amy Held, last year named to the first team All-MVC, first team MVC Scholar Athlete team for the second straight year. All popped up high by Sorge. Little roll shot by Held. Back row attack. Weber tried to tool it out of bounds, but the ball tipped the antenna, and Cyclones with the side out. Here's a nice look at the replay.
So we should talk about that. In volleyball, the lines are considered in. If the ball hits the line, any part of the ball hits any part of the line, it's in. The antennas are lined up with the outside of the line, so if the ball hits the antenna, it's out.
Great shot there by our camera operators. Great job by our entire crew here tonight for the Panther Sports Network. Barb Randall, Eric Braley with the call. We like doing all these broadcasts. I specifically like this one. It's the only volleyball match we do here on PSN, and the UNI volleyball team definitely deserving of having this one broadcast. As they're
both teams
always in the mix.
Yep. Well, and Iowa State fans can see it too, because I know it's also the channel in Cedar Rapids is showing it on their digital channel. So fans all around the state can see it.
22-17, Panthers. Bree Weber feeling pretty good here. Hainline has 8 kills for UNI, then Held with 7, Taylor with 4, Thomas and Weber each with 3. Panthers need just 3 more points to even out the series. Hainline wisely lets that ball sail by her.
Oh, I think they called a touch. I'm not sure who saw it or who called it.
Watch the replay. Missed her by about 1.5 feet.
I think they're calling it on the block.
Okay. Crowd wearing purple and yellow in the stands, not liking that call.
Well, the way the ball took off kind of made it look like it could have been touched, but that doesn't always mean it was touched.
Denied, so the Cyclones trying to make something out of that opportunity, and a timeout on the court. 22-19 as Bobby Peterson calls a timeout. UNI has 19 appearances in the NCAA tournament. Advanced the second round 11 times, in the Sweet 16 3 times since 1999. Barb Randall, my color commentator, was an assistant coach with Bobby Peterson, and here's a look at the all-time winning percentage when you talk about successful volleyball programs at the NCAA Division I level.
Little UNI.
Right in the mix.
Gotta love it.
7-7-6.
I mean, that is such a neat graphic right there, because it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. It's how hard you fight.
So the Panthers, every year, contenders for the Missouri Valley Conference. Every year, they're either in the NCAA tournament or they're right on the bubble. And it has a feeling like this year is going to be very similar. They graduated 2 players last year, neither of them starters. So returning a strong nucleus.
Which just shows you how strong the conference should be if this Panther team was voted to get 4th.
Great shot there of how full the McLeod Center is for this in-state matchup. A very polite Alexis Conaway saying thank you to the ball girl as she gets set to serve. Crunch time here for the Cyclones. Little room for error as they trail 22-19. Off the slide.
Well, that ball looked like it was set too wide. We'll take a look here.
Ball hit the antenna.
A little bit too wide, but you want it to be out there so that the player can chase it, and it just, kind of everything happened. Went off her fingertips rather than her hand. Hit the antenna.
Another miscommunication between the setter and Thomas, Hook and Thomas. And just like that, Barb, a 1-point ball game. 1 point separating the Cyclones and the Panthers. UNI had a large lead in the early going. They substituted Miranda in. Some miscues down the stretch. Maybe a questionable call. And that's what brought us to where we are right now. Out of bounds. The side out UNI was looking for. And now here's the setter, Heather Hook, to serve.
Yeah, that ball was way out. I think the Cyclones wanted a touch, but I think they knew there really wasn't a touch.
Setter dump
Smart.
Right on the line.
Very, very smart.
Sorgi was there, but not expecting this play.
Well, and the setter really couldn't do a lot else with it. It was a really tight set. The setter, had to use her right hand, and it's real hard to make it go forward that way when she's going up. Easy to dump. Well, I say it's easy. I probably couldn't do it, but easy to dump it right behind her head.
Horner out of Mississippi State. Panthers bring up set point. Here's the replay.
Way to take control of it.
Piper Thomas. Game point, UNI trying to even up the series. Cyclones won the first 29-27. Panthers have not trailed here in the second. It's in. 24-23, side out.
It's interesting because Iowa State made a setter change.
Yeah, don't see that happen every day.
No, and especially at this point of the match.
Still game point, tipped. Panthers in system. Ball tipped out and out of bounds.
However, I think Christy Johnson Lynch is amazing, and she was a setter in college, and she was an amazing setter. And so I don't question a lot of the decisions that she makes because she probably saw something her setter wasn't doing that she wanted her to do and made the change.
Panthers had game point twice. Cyclones fought it off. Now it's tied at 24-all, and the Cyclones will have a chance. This is the very first lead Iowa State has had here in the second game, and it comes at 25-24. They were down. They were down big, and you can see the intensity on the coaching staff for Iowa State. Service air, wisely let it go.
Do you think that was a let it go, or do you think that was a I got it, you take it?
Regardless.
Yeah. Lucky for the Panthers because it looked like they both were kind of going to take it and then thought the other one was going to take it, and then lucky.
25-all. Well, the first one ended 29-27. That one's in. Nice placement again. Jess Shaben tearing it up here.
Well, again, we aren't we're sitting right here on the net, so we can't see it when it's happening. But the UNI Panthers aren't getting their double block out there on her.
10 kills for Shaben through 2 sets. Held. Good attack, but the Cyclones aren't going to let that ball drop.
That.
My. How did that not hit the court? Quick set. That one counts. The senior out of Carroll, Iowa, Lindsay Scholes, 30 kills on the year. None bigger than that one. Tied it up at 26.
I love how Hainline hit that free ball. She was like 8 feet off the net, just goes up and hits it. I like it.
There's a lot happening here as we wind down the home
that was
stretch,
way in.
including a service 8 at a very opportune time for Ashley Sinnott, the senior. Yeah, got to play that one. Game point again for UNI. Student section behind her trying to cheer her on. Tough serve. And it's down. Guess who? Guess who? Shaben again.
This is how these matches should be. Great swing. The middle blocker for UNI was there. There may have been a hole. It's a little hard to see from this angle, but Shaben, it doesn't really matter if the blocker's there or not. She's going to put the ball down.
Shaben has been unstoppable. Out of Defiance, Iowa, attended Harlan High School, 4.11 kills per set. Good hustle. Sorge keeps it up. Panthers have it. 4 contacts the call, and it's going to be game point for Iowa State. (28-27). Hilligus. Let it go. And we got more volleyball.
Everybody on Iowa State wanted to touch. Everybody on UNI was like, no way.
Here's here is Carly Taylor joining Kayla Hainline, Heather Hook, Ashley Sinnott, Amy Held, and Kendall Sorgi. 28-28. Beautiful serve. Beautiful up. Tip. Tip. Got it to go. 29-28 Panthers.
Sometimes it's a game of contortionism. You're just trying to contort your body to get one more contact, to turn it, to send it over. And you have to do it with legal contacts. That's the hard part.
Taylor growing up quickly as a true freshman. Solo stuff. Joust. And Held knocks it out. No touch called.
Well, I thought she was maybe over the 3-meter line, but looking from that replay, you can see she wasn't. And the ref had it. He made the motion that she was safe, if you want to call it safe.
29-29. You played a 25.
We're in overtime again.
First set went to the Cyclones 29-27. Beautiful up again. Hook has to work to track that down, and inevitably, if you don't have a good pass, then you don't have a good set, and you don't have a good attack. Bobby Peterson was keeping that second final timeout tucked deep in her back pocket and decided we need to take a break here and collect ourselves as the Cyclones have a chance for game point.
Well, she almost didn't have to use it twice. They've been at 2 match points at least.
Yep. So the Panthers, Bobby Peterson.
I mean, not match points, set points.
In her 17th season, 415 wins, 126 losses, 7 MVC regular season titles, 8 MVC tournament crowns, 2 NCAA Sweet 16 appearances. She ranks in the top 10, as you see, in winning percentage of active winning coaches. You love working for her. She's a close friend. And she's one heck of a volleyball coach.
Well, you can put volleyball coach to the side. She's one heck of a person. I mean, and when you send your daughter to play for Bobby Peterson, you know that she's getting lifelong lessons about how to balance life, how to do everything you want to do in a positive way. She's an amazing, amazing person.
I second that. Well, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by CFU FiberNet TV from Cedar Falls Utilities. Get connected to CFU, the power of service. The Panthers led the entire second set till we got to about 25. Then the Cyclones came back, and they're trying to steal the second set. They could do it right here. Not on that play. 30-30.
I'm running out of room on my paper.
This has been, as we go down the home stretch here, just a battle. No room for either team to make a serious run. The Panthers need just 2 consecutive points to tie this thing up. There's one. They need one more point.
Well, and Capizio has the right idea. That deep corner, like I like to say, is golden. She just needs to snap it a little bit with her wrists. Make it come down.
The senior, Kayla Hainline, directly into the net. So the Cyclones now a chance as we're tied at 31. Look at some current set statistics. Hitting -018 are the Panthers, and hitting -078 are the Cyclones. Not long ago, the Panthers were rating 450 as a team in this set.
Yeah, that changes quickly, doesn't it?
Quick set. Cyclones diving head first, keeping it off the court, and Shaban doing what Shaban does.
I think that
She's
was
got a
Capizio.
dozen kills. Capizio, yes. She has 9 kills now. So,
and that time it was against a double block, so you never can tell. Sometimes when it's against a single block, she's hitting it out. That time she found the hands and was able to put the ball down.
so the Cyclones have 2 players, one in double digits and one knocking right on the door.
The outside hitters are both.
Panthers really spreading it around. Hainline with 8, Held with 7, Taylor with 5.
Now,
game point here for the Cyclones yet again.
if I'm looking at that, I'm thinking the Panthers are passing better than the Cyclones. Not necessarily the case, but that is what I would say.
32 all after Piper Thomas, the sophomore out of Jessup. And here's Heather Hook to serve. Both teams have had multiple opportunities to close the door and win the second set. Hook might have tweaked her ankle a bit. They play on.
Well, when she was going back there to serve, it looked like she either slipped on some water or did something. But you're right, she's moving, looks like she's trying to stretch it out and move it around a little bit.
We'll keep an eye on that. 33-32 in the Cyclones again with game point here. To serve for the Cyclones, Suzanne Horner. A delay in action as the Iowa State coaching staff, all the assistants on the court.
Well, they're practically standing on the court. I'm not sure that that's allowed, but nobody's doing anything about it, so maybe it is.
Game point, and it's in. Perfect placement. Thomas dials up that far corner.
I just have a question for you. Where was that perfect placement?
Right in the golden corner.
Right
no
in
one's
the
there.
Golden corner. It's so hard to defend. Put the ball in the corner.
Thomas with 6 kills, tied at 33 all. Weber with a service ace. Bree Weber. Again, she's not 100% either. Big smile from Bree from Dyke, Iowa. And the Panthers have set point again.
Well, and that was great placement on her serve. When you serve the ball, if the coach gives you the signal for where to serve it, you want to serve it not at the person in that zone, but around the person in that zone. So they have to move, they have to stretch, they have to try and get to it and not make it right at them.
Great environment for Division I college volleyball here in Cedar Falls, the McLeod Center. And oh my. Mercy. So twice now the Panthers have had game point, and twice they served it right into the net.
Well, they've had set point more than twice,
Yeah.
but they've served it into the net twice.
You played a 25, win by 2. Maybe we just played a 50, first to 50 wins.
Oh.
Cyclone player was underneath the net, in the net, not called. Panthers get the point anyway. Look at the emotion on the face of these student athletes.
Well, that was a pretty bad miscall. However, the down ref was watching it.
So a meeting with up official as the captains come over.
I'm trying to hear what they are saying, but I can't hear it.
The score is UNI 35, Iowa State 34. That's the in the net. When the net moves that much, chances are someone's in it.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, I know both of these line judges, and they are superb.
Point for UNI. And I sound like a broken record, but the Panthers yet again have set point. They need one more point. They even up the series here at 1 apiece. Cyclones, they're not giving it up. They've denied the Panthers this opportunity time and time again. There's another time. 35 all. Going to the outside, and Shaben with the kill. This is where conditioning comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where those two-a-days make it seem like this is cake.
Abby Phillips, service error. Panthers with game point 36-35 in an epic battle. The only thing that would make this better is if this was the fifth set.
Yeah. Could you imagine if it's 36-35 in the fifth set when you only go to 15?
Ashley Sinnott trying to tie up the series by winning game 2.
Well, why wouldn't you go back to her?
Yeah.
Miranda has come in as when Iowa State was really having a rough time, and she's gotten kill after kill after kill and has 5 kills in this, just in the second half of this set. Well, I guess you'd say second 3 quarters or something of the set.
The fans are getting workout standing up every time it's game point. Cyclones have it, working near side. Good up there by Sorgi. Held with the attack, and that's down for a kill. And the Panthers again will have set point. 37-36. Nice look on the replay. Right in front of a packed UNI student section. Amy Held puts her Panther paw to it. Ball was tipped. Cyclones with the point.
I cannot believe this. I mean, you can't get better volleyball.
No.
When you're asked to respond, you're responding. Both teams, this is awesome.
It's just been gut check time each and every play. And the Cyclones have had to been doing it even longer because they were down so deep. Well, Jess Shaben with a rare mistake. If the Panthers get this point, they win this set. But from what we've learned in the last half hour, that's not going to be easy. So here is Hainline. Last time she had the opportunity, I believe she served it into the net. This time successfully over, and the Cyclones in system with the tip and the point.
Well, that was smart. Very, very smart by Capizio. Everything's been hammer, 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 hammer. So she takes a little speed off it, rolls it just over the block. Very smart.
38-38. The rotations continue to go, but we're at the same result, a tied ball game. Here's Alexis Conaway, the junior outside hitter out of Orange City, Iowa. All Big 12 first team last year. Off the hands. Held saves it. Back row attack, it's hit out of bounds.
And I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I think that ball needs to be set maybe even just 2 feet higher. It just needs to be a little bit higher.
Panthers, if they get to 40 before Iowa State gets to 39, they're victorious. Let's see what Heather Hook can do. Last year took over the starting setter duties. And that's a beautiful serve. It's a service ace. Holy buckets. The Panthers are victorious. 40-38 the final here in the second set. And we're all tied at 1 win apiece.
And the crowd goes wild.
As they should. Well, tickets cost $1 to get in. I think it's safe to say we've definitely got each fan their money's worth so far. We'll be back with the halftime show. 1-1 is our score. You're watching UNI Volleyball versus Iowa State, presented by Casey's General Stores. Center. We're all tied up just right where we started, but a lot of exciting volleyball in the past hour. Cyclones won the first set. Panthers won the second set. Scores of those set 29-27 and 40-38. We'll be back with the halftime show right after this. You're watching Panther Volleyball on the Panther Sports Network. The new black one.
Sure.
What's going on with that?
I tell you, right now, people are groceries. If you still got our red card, you still got plenty of time. But remember, you're not getting the perks. So we're really challenging people to get out there. Plus, with the new mobile app that we're going to start rolling out in October, you got to get that black card because you're going to see a lot more perks coming from Hy-Vee.
In October.
In October 1st, you bet.
Perfect. I've also had the chance to eat at the Hy-Vee Market Grill, and I know this month you're doing some new incentives there.
Yeah, this is National Get Out and Eat. We feel that right now that people aren't getting together, and we need to get families back together. So every time that people do that, we're going to donate $1 back to the Heartland and donate $100,000 from Hy-Vee.
That's wonderful. Great food, and your menu, so much on there. A lot to choose from.
I love the Market Grill, and I love what Hy-Vee's doing with it.
And also coming up, something to think about. Winter is approaching, and flu shots, and Hy-Vee can take care of that as well.
Hey, that's what's great about Hy-Vee. You can get something to eat, but you can also get your flu shot, and it's not too early. A lot of people talk about when should I get my flu shot. Right now is actually the perfect time. It takes a couple weeks to get it to work in your body, so stopping out your Hy-Vee stores, all of the locations can get you a flu shot.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Go Panthers.
And thanks for your support of Panther Athletics. We'll be back after this. We're tied at 1. You're watching UNI Volleyball versus Iowa State, presented by Casey's General Stores. Panther Sports Network.
As the teams are getting up, I'm looking at the lineup, and Iowa State has changed a few things. They've changed not only a few players, but kind of where the rotation's the same, but they've changed a few players. They have a different setter, they have a different middle, and then they kept Miranda in.
We'll keep an eye on that rotation. As head coach Christy Johnson-Lynch, she's not afraid to shake it up a little bit.
Well, and I like that. I like that she put Samara West into the middle for the first time tonight. I like it.
The Panthers get the point there. We're tied 1-1 in the series. We're tied 1-1 here in the third set. Just your thoughts of how that second set, epic battle. Either team could have, should have won that, had multiple opportunities. Who has the advantage now?
Well, I think it hurts UNI's momentum that there was that 10-minute break. Ordinarily, I'd say UNI has the momentum, but with that 10-minute break, that kind of makes that dissipate a little bit.
Both teams playing fundamentally sound volleyball against good quality defense with the front line and the back row. Look at that hustle. Look at that effort. And it's the Cyclones who stick with it.
Well, that was smart. Oh, I'm not sure back row attack.
Back row attack against the Cyclones.
So Harris is only 5'9", but they said that she was above the height of the net when she sent it over. But smart play because UNI's all discombobulated. Half of them have been on the floor in the previous point, and she just sends it right back to them.
So 2-1. A look at the statistics through the first two sets. Amy Held leading the way offensively for the Panthers with 9 kills, 8 for Kayla Hainline, 6 for Piper Thomas, 5 for Carly Taylor. Bree Weber also had 3. Ball tip-tooled out of bounds, last touched by UNI. For Iowa State, they had 2 players in double-digit kills already just through 2 sets. Jess Shaben hitting a .158 with 13 kills. Capizio with 10 kills, hitting .206. Then kind of a drop-off. The next highest is Miranda with 5 kills. Lazard with 3.
Well, I think we should talk a little bit about what those hitting percentages mean.
Overall, as a team, Iowa State's hitting .153 and UNI's hitting .091, 91%.
So those hitting percentages are kills minus errors divided by attempts. And so what you want is you kind of compare it to a batting average as far as numbers go. In the 300s is good. Anything above that is excellent. So that kind of tells you how the teams are doing. But to get there, it's kills minus errors divided by attempts.
Good look on the replay. Again, a transfer. Miranda transferring from Evansville. Was the MVC all-freshman team in 2014 and all-MVC second team last year. She was the difference maker in that run for the Cyclones to get back into things in the second set. An attack error by UNI. Another statistic, Barb, I'd like to get your thoughts on is blocks. And I believe it was 8-4 in favor of UNI through 2 sets. I've seen a lot of blocking going on. How do you get to those numbers?
Okay, so for a block to count as a block, it has to score a point. So that one doesn't count as a block. That would count as a kill because the hitter hit it and it ended up on the floor for Iowa State. So it's a kill. But for the block to be counted as a block, and I think they even split them in half. If there are 2 people up for the block, then each of those get half a block. But it has to score.
No one blocking that, but Hainline goes down the line and it's out of bounds. Bobby Peterson wants to call a timeout as the Cyclones jump out to the early 6-3 lead. Well, I don't know if you have plans for this weekend, but you can join Barb and I here inside the McLeod Center. It's going to be a busy weekend. UNI tournament Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. North Dakota State versus Northwestern at 1:30. Illinois State against UNI at 5 o'clock. And then Syracuse versus Northwestern at 7 p.m. That's all Friday. Then on Saturday, September 17th, Illinois State versus Syracuse. Bright and early, 10 a.m. Northwestern against UNI at noon. North Dakota State versus Illinois State at 5 p.m. And Syracuse at UNI at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, they wrap up the UNI tournament as North Dakota State faces off against the Panthers at 2:30. So as you can see here, the Nissan Road Ahead. The Road Ahead brought to you by Nissan, a proud supporter of college athletics. Take on game day. Today is game day. Friday is game day, Saturday is game day, and Sunday is game day.
Yeah, that's right.
The Panther volleyball team has not been home until tonight, and then they get a whole bunch of home games.
Well, we have a whole bunch of home games. They're this weekend. They're at home for 4 matches, and then they take off again.
Opening up conference play at Southern Illinois and Evansville, September 23rd and 24th. Attack air. Just a lot of attacks by UNI in this third set, going deep, going long.
Well, and I think I should say, not that that's okay, but I think you want to aim for the back part of the court. If you're aiming straight down, it's going to be hitting into the blocker's hands every single time. So you want to aim for the back, 5 to 6 feet of the court, and sometimes you're off a little bit. These ladies make it look a lot easier than it is.
In the net, the call against UNI. Cyclones up by 5. Good pass, nice back set. And it's hammer time on the outside. Schultz was big early on in this match. That gives her 3rd kill.
Well, and that's a nice cross-court swing. Iowa State's defense had to kind of cross in front of each other and couldn't get it back onto the court. I think it went into the stands somewhere.
That back row attack for Iowa State. Panthers gobble it up and return. Off the block and down for a kill. Well, Barb, we have the luxury of watching and announcing the Iowa High School State Volleyball Championships. I know it's one of the highlights of your weekends for the entire year, as it is mine, but it's fun to see and identify these players when they're freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors, and seeing, wow, they're really talented, but a little green, a little raw. And then to see them, let's fast forward a couple of years, once they get into the college strength and conditioning and the development, where they choose to go to school, how they fit into with the system. And on the court here tonight, just a number of players we had a chance to broadcast down at the state championships for the high school.
Yeah, I mean, basically, almost all the Iowa kids we've seen in the finals, Shaban, Conaway, Bree, Weber, Sorgi we saw. I mean, all those Iowa kids. Well, and
Heather
not
Hook.
all of them. Heather Hook, yeah. We've seen them down there. And like you said, it's so much fun to watch the development as they mature and learn the game a little bit more. And play against better competition.
Yeah. Volley at the net. Panthers trying to string a run together here. They dug themselves a hole here in this third set. We saw Iowa State come back. The ball's out of bounds. Point Cyclones, and Bobby has one more timeout. She's sitting on, but she might not wait too much longer.
Well, and I'm not sure I'd take one after that, because that was a nice rally. A lot of good plays in it. It's not like that one swept any momentum the other way. Against the Panthers.
Little roll shot. Big time attack, but it sails wide and out of bounds, and the Panthers get the side out they're looking for. 11-6 the score. Again, the Panther UNI Athletics Department trying to break the attendance mark of 6,621 set on September 4th, 2013.
Against
Iowa State. It's just like when UNI football goes to open up the season at Iowa State. I think the three largest crowds at Jack Trice Stadium are Iowa State UNI football. The Panther football team won this year, and now it's time to go to the volleyball court and see who wins this. What happened on that play?
On that one, I think Hook's sets are a little bit too far off the net. Now, ordinarily, I'm complaining about setters setting the ball too tight. I think her sets are a little too far off. They need to be 3 to 4 foot off, but that was more like 6 foot off. And I think she just needs to pull them in a little bit. And most of them. I mean, she's just a little bit too wide tonight.
12-6. Cyclones have been in the driver's seat.
That one's nice. That was a good distance.
From the get-go. And then you see the result. The connection so critical between the setter and the hitter. That's Carly Taylor, the freshman out of Eddyville.
Well, and the connection is critical along with the communication. You know, if you're running a faster set, the hitter needs to know that you're running that faster set. So there's a lot that goes with it, and a lot of practice that goes behind each of these every day.
Smart decision as Thomas gobbles that up. It's a little warm in here. They're wiping up some sweat out on the court as these ladies are leaving it all out there. That also does.
It's a short little timeout.
Have to be very well conditioned to play the sport of volleyball at the collegiate level. Cyclones in control. Good defense, but the Panthers unable to translate into a really good attack on this series. And the point to the Cyclones. Iowa State 6-2 on the year, receiving votes in the top 25. They've won 4 straight. Preseason number 3 in the Big 12. Panthers get the point out of Piper Thomas. What do you like about how Piper plays the sport? She's still pretty young, a true sophomore.
She's pretty young, but she is aggressive, and I like the way she controls the net. She goes after every ball. She's up for most of the blocks. However, that would be my one complaint, is that if she's late, she doesn't go. And as a former middle blocker and former coach of middle blockers, you got to go, and I'm going to say this word, always, 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 always got to go. So that would be my biggest piece of advice for her, but I love the way that she's up fighting at that net every single time.
Cyclones lead starting to diminish a little bit, and then the kill by Jess Shaben. Again, 2015 Big 12 Freshman of the Year, all Big 12 second team. And just last weekend, she was named the most valuable player of the Cyclone Invitational. Substitution, and here comes Morgan Kurt into serve. And going to the sideline is Samara West. Kurt out of Waverly, a senior, 2016 Big 12 preseason team, but the Panthers get another point out of Thomas.
Again, she's controlling the net. As a middle blocker, that's what you need to do. That's how you intimidate the other team, is if you don't let a ball go by without some kind of a fight, the other team doesn't want to be near you.
Sorgi with the serve. The tip, it was kind of high and back behind her, but a good job by Lazard out of London, England, to stretch up, control it, and tip it down. And here's Hillegas, a freshman out of Charles City, Iowa. Just Iowa, Iowa, Iowa. So many players graduating, growing up from the state of Iowa on both teams. That's down for the point for UNI. Right about that halfway point, typically, of the set. But I guess the halfway point would be somewhere in the 20s, the way that we're going.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what the halfway point is in this one.
Sinnott. Close to a service ace, but the Cyclones track it down, and free ball over the net to UNI. Tip, no one's home, a little campfire. Get out your weenies and s'mores and roast it up. 15-13. And here's Sinnott. She serves tough. Almost another service ace. Blocked. And it's going to be a point for Iowa State as it's tipped out of bounds.
Well, and you've talked a little bit about almost a service ace or service ace. Let's talk about what makes a service ace. If the ball hits the floor.
Good serving and bad defense.
Well, kind of defense, but serve, receive, passing. But if the ball hits the floor before anybody touches it, obviously that's an ace. The other way to get an ace is if the passer touches it, but nobody else can play it, nobody else can touch it, then that's considered an ace also. And good serving and bad passing, yeah.
There you go.
A mixture.
A service error, which we have seen so far tonight. A total of 14 service errors in this game. 8 service errors for Iowa State, 6 for UNI, but 5 service aces for UNI and just 2 service aces for the Cyclones. Panthers in control. Back row attack. Back row attack. Denied. And the Panthers, Barb, they pull within 2 points here. 17-15.
Well, and as it's gone tonight, we're not really too surprised because it's been teams go on runs and then the other team inches back. And that's what volleyball is, though. As you've grown up playing it, you know that you're never really out of it. You know you can come back point by point by point because you can't score more than 1 point at once. So you just keep chipping away at it.
If you're just joining us, we're tied at 1 win apiece, 1 for the Cyclones in the first set and 1 for the Panthers, 40-38 in the second. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Well, it's funny because at the break when you were having your interview, several people came up to me and said, "Is that a record? Is that a record? Have you ever seen one so high? Have you ever heard of one so high?" We were going to try and look on the internet. I don't think it's a record. I'm pretty sure it's not a record. I don't know that I've seen one that high personally, but I think there have been sets that have been more than 40.
It was entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right now, Timeout called by Bobby Peterson, her second and final timeout of this third set. It's 19-15. Cyclones with the lead. Barb is a former assistant coach under Bobby Peterson. What types of things would she use in that 10-minute intermission, considering all the emotion, the intensity that's going into this? I mean, what do you say besides, okay, take a deep breath and rest real quick here?
Well, one of the things that I think Bobby was awesome at was, is keeping the players' confidence level up. So even if we were losing and we had horrible time, she went in there. Usually we'd gather as coaches first and talk about what we needed to do. And usually I was mad and hot and bothered and come on, that kind of thing. And she'd go in there and she'd get the team, speak calmly, talk to them about what we needed to do, but she'd keep their confidence level intact and build it so that then when they came back out on the court, no matter what happened, they knew that they could come back from any situation. And it's like, I mean, I call it almost magical the way she has with her words.
Well, she's been doing it a long time, very successful, and in the UNI Hall of Fame as a student athlete. Grew up in Dyke, Iowa, and now in her 17th season as the head coach at UNI. 415 wins, 7 MVC regular season titles, 8 MVC tournament crowns, 2 NCAA Sweet 16 appearances. She calls a timeout. Her players respond, and now we have a 3-point game at 19-16.
Well, and the other thing, she never, for lack of a better word, undresses anyone. She never lets anyone have it. She always in the back of her mind is thinking about the confidence level and how will they respond from this situation versus that situation. And she is great at it.
Panthers trying to respond here. Cyclones have been in control of this third set. Net violation charged against the Cyclones. Panthers looking to take advantage of the miscue as Kayla Hainline goes back to serve. Play to 25, win by 2. Back set. Panthers in control near sideline. Off the block. Blocked at the net.
Controlling it.
West looking strong up there. The Panthers have an answer. Overpass. Long volley continues. Out of bounds. And that's just a typical play that we've seen time and time and time again here tonight. It takes a solid minute from the serve before a team is awarded a point. Off the block, Cyclones have it. We're in that cardinal red and dark bottoms. Panthers in the home white uniforms with purple bottoms. Good up. Near sideline. Good long hang to keep it in play by Shaban in the back row. Good set. Good long hang over on the sideline by Capizio to keep it in. I mean, there's many times that this would be a point by now.
Yes, absolutely.
But because of the scrappy, hard-fought defense by both teams, you can't start celebrating until you hear the official.
Till your shoe comes off.
You can't start then. As we learned in the opening set, you got to keep playing. As Amy held.
I hope they remember that and use it at the banquet, as some kind of a player award or something.
I hope she just double knots and ties them even tighter so that does not happen again. Stuffed at the net.
What an awesome block that was. I was right. I'm even with the net. Both players, all 4 arms went up, went over, penetrated over. It was beautiful.
Panthers down, but not out. I'm getting a text message at KWWL reporting they're 6 points away from the record for the most points going for that. Well, Panther Volleyball is brought to you by the Cedar Falls Tourism and Visitors Bureau and the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau. Check out visitthecedarvalley.org/Go Panthers to make your plans today. Cedar Falls and Waterloo Visitors Bureau, an awesome place to come visit for a weekend getaway. And Barb, when you take a look at what's going on here tonight as this is all unfolding and you look inside the huddle, this is a non-conference matchup. It's not huge, but it is because of the recruiting, and it's huge because this is a resume builder for whoever wins this, just because both these teams are always at the top and usually always in the NCAA tournament.
Well, and not just that, but it helps them get into the NCAA tournament because it helps their strength of schedule, because both teams schedule really tough matches outside of their conference. Iowa State's played Nebraska. They've played some top 25 teams as well as UNI, and so it's a lot on the line, even though it's not a big conference match.
Look at that hustle. Might not get the point, but they're leaving it all out there. 20-20 the score.
So you said 6 points. So does that mean the record is 46-44?
I believe so. I'm not citing my source. I just
you did
kind of.
You said
phone.
KWWL.
So I don't know. I'm surprised that it hasn't been passed to us if it was that close, but we will fact check that at a later time. Let's put all attention on this match that's unfolding here as the Panthers have the lead, 21-20. Good idea.
It is a good idea. And anytime you have a free ball, it's a nice idea to shoot it to that right back corner for a bunch of reasons. If the setter's back row, she's coming from there, so someone has to cover it. But if she's not back row, then when the pass comes, it's coming from behind her over her shoulder, which is a harder pass to set than one that's coming straight at you.
Real interesting thing here is that we're seeing players vary their shots. We're not seeing necessarily as hard. We're seeing some of the hard-hitting shots. We're seeing a lot of tips and placement in the last several minutes, it seems like, trying to catch the opponent off guard and keep them guessing.
Well, kind of variety is the spice of life. If you think, every time you're going up to hammer and every time you hammer, the defense is going to make adjustments so that they're prepared for that. However, if you mix it up, it's harder for the defense to play.
So Cyclones get that point, and it's now 22-21. The first set went right down to the wire and then some, with the Cyclones winning 29-27. The second set, a near record potentially at 40-38 with UNI winning. The third set's a big one, and it's coming to a close here. Panthers get the point, all tied up at 22. Quick look at the stats. Shaban leading the way for the Cyclones with 18 kills. Capizio with 12. Miranda with 8. For the UNI Panthers, Held with a dozen. Hainline and Thomas each with 10. Taylor with 7. Set to the outside. Beautiful up by Sorgi. Northern Iowa works it to the outside. Off the Cyclone block, and it falls in for the point. 23-22.
Heather Hook's doing like a figure 8. She had to, when she ran across for the outside hitter, she was kind of in the path of the approach. So she ran outside the court, back around, and by that time the ball was passed to the middle of the court, so she just ran right in and set it the other way.
That has to be one of the most challenging positions on the court, the setter, because you need to know where the pass is coming from, and you need to have eyes in the back of your head, the side of your head, and all around.
And you need to pay attention to who's blocking on the other side, because if there's a weakness in the blocking, you want to put your stronger hitter there. You want to make sure that the offense is not the same, high outside, quick middle, high back every time. You need to know what hitters you have in the front row. Can my middle go back around and do a slide, or is there someone hitting there? So there's so many things that you have to pay attention to in setting, as well as then you have to chase down the ball.
It's too much. Too much. Too much.
It's too much for me.
They call him the quarterback of the team, and right now Heather Hook doing a great job quarterbacking the Panthers, leading the way. Now look at the UNI student section. They have been out in full force this evening.
So I have a question for you. When you were a student here, did you have a pair of those overalls?
I did not.
Oh. Do you now?
Those were not invented.
Oh, yes, they were, because when I was in college, there were black and gold ones that people wore to Hawkeye football games. Yep.
Barb Willis, a standout All-American at the University of Iowa. Former Panther assistant coach. Our color analyst here tonight. She has her finger on the pulse of everything that is high school and Iowa State and UNI volleyball.
I wish.
Block.
I wouldn't be able to do anything else.
A lot going on as volleyball alive and well in the great state of Iowa. Cyclones get the point. They called a timeout. Get some things set up there.
Boy, I love Sorgi's defensive play. She's in every balls that you think are going to hit the floor. She comes from nowhere, throws her body at it, and gets a touch on the ball, and sometimes it's playable. Sometimes, like on that one, it wasn't. But I just love how she never lets a ball die. Not
afraid to sacrifice her body to help her team, and that's the definition of a true defensive specialist. Kill on the near side by Amy Held. She was the libero the last couple of years. Moved her to outside hitter in the Panthers. There you see number 5 all-time in digs. 4-time MVC Defensive Player of the Week. First team All-Valley last year. And the Panthers have clawed their way to set point here. Cyclones. Held. Whistle, and in the net's Iowa State. The Panthers win the second and the third. They surge ahead 2-1 here in the series. The Panthers need just one more win, and they are your winner here tonight. UNI should be up 2-1. She is a good bulk of their offense. She has 18 kills. Capizio has 12, but then there's a drop-off. Is there any way the Panthers can just really identify her?
Well, there's a couple things going on, though. So if they do that, the Panthers may be focusing on the middles to stop the middles. And that's why Shaban and Capizio are getting the bulk of the sets. However, if the Panthers switch to Shaban and Capizio, then it could go back. But you can certainly try that and see what happens.
Cyclones get the first point here of the fourth. An attack air was not touched. And the Cyclones go up 2-0. Well, Iowa State, they're expected to be pretty darn good again this year. But for the first time since the 2008 season, Iowa State doesn't have a returning All-American on the roster due to the graduations of 2-time All-American libero Caitlin Nolan and 2013 honorable mention All-American Mackenzie Bigby. So while there might not be an All-American on the roster, you have Alexis Conaway, 2015 All Big 12 first team. You
nice hustle.
Of course, Jess Shaban, 2015 Big 12 Freshman of the Year. So the potential is there for head coach Christy Johnson Lynch. But that Big 12 is tough.
Oh, it is. It's a very tough conference, and they'll get beaten up a little bit, but they'll also have a few surprise wins because they don't let anything die.
Cyclones looking strong here, up 3-2. It's a must-win situation for Iowa State here in this set.
That's right. If UNI wins this set, the match is over. If Iowa State wins this set, it goes to a deciding set that we play to 15 in that deciding set. Still have to win by 2, so it could end up going 25 or 30, the way this has gone.
Big block of the net by the Cyclones. Panthers stick with it again. Held, gets it through. Near sideline, over to Sorgi. Back row attack by Weber. And that's her bread and butter. Bree Weber is, I would say, more efficient and successful tonight with those back row attacks than she is playing on the outside.
It's interesting that they're having her attack from the back row since she's not playing the front row because of her sore ankle. But maybe they've found that it puts different pressure on, because when you're attacking from the back row, you want to jump forward, and when you're attacking from the front row, you want to jump straight up.
Nice hustle again on the UNI side to keep the ball from hitting the court. Stuffed at the net. Miranda and Conaway on the outside, and that's tough for Amy Held. She has a great vertical leap. She has a fiery effort and swing, but she is only 5'9" tall. And that block was a big old block right in front of her.
That's right, and that's when she needs to try and swing high hands, or even push it into the hands and wipe it off to the outside so no defender can play it in the back row.
Scholes out of Carroll, Iowa with the attack, and that one perfect placement by Iowa State.
That was great defense by the line digger there on Iowa State.
Yeah, all the way around. The dig, the pass, the set, and the attack, all to perfection for the Cyclones.
Well, and I think it just goes to show how important this match is to both teams. Neither one of them want to let the ball die, because they know they want this match in their back pocket.
5-3 our score. A timeout called by the Panthers. Iowa State is one of 11 NCAA programs to appear in the past 10 NCAA volleyball championships. We talk about the history of UNI volleyball. Top 10 winning percentage. Bobby Peterson, top 10 coaches in all of Division I volleyball. But what Christy Johnson Lynch has done here at Iowa State, and have been in the NCAA tournament each of the past 10 years, it's a good culture that they're building, and the fans have come out to support them at Hilton. They have 119 wins and just 37 losses under Coach Johnson Lynch, a 76% winning percentage, and they rank first in the Big 12 and 9th in the NCAA, averaging 2,277 fans. So you can definitely tell, with UNI ranked in the top 10 for fan attendance and Iowa State ranked in the top 10 for fan attendance, there's no surprise we're knocking on the door of 7,000 people here to witness this match.
If you build it, they will come. But one of the great things, I guess, when you were talking and you said they have 37 losses at Hilton, that surprises me a little bit, because they're so good. But the reason that is because they play in the Big 12. They've got, top 10, top 5 ranked team coming in every single year, sometimes multiple times. So it's a tough road to hoe.
6-3. Whoever wins this, it's a tough road to hoe here tonight. But a service error gives the ball back to the Panthers. And on the rotation, Sinnott will come to the back row. Schultz heads to the sideline. And Ashley Sinnott has been pretty strong in that DS position for UNI tonight. We're in game 4. Cyclones won the first. Panthers have won the last 2. A little give and go, and it's in. Oh, just a hair out of bounds. Pretty close. Here's the replay.
And it'll be hard to see it from this side because we're on this side of it. But, the line judge was right there, and the up official had the same call.
7-4. Again, it's a must-win scenario for the Cyclones, as Hilligus out of Charles City to serve. Tipped. Pass, the set, and the kill. Things starting to click a little bit. And for UNI in this match, they're hitting 105 with 53 kills on 191 attempts. Iowa State 54 kills on 184 attempts. Beautiful up. The free ball over the net. It's an easy point there for the Cyclones. Grace Lazard, a 6'2 sophomore middle blocker out of London, England. Played for the under-20 national team in 2016. And here's Morgan Kurt. She was a USA Volleyball Collegiate National Team member in 2015, as well as all Big 12 first team last year. Off the hands of the Cyclones and out of bounds for the Panther point.
Well, and that was a great use. And that's what I mean by hitting high off the hands. If you can hit high off the hands and make it go that far deep in the court, there's almost no one in the country who's going to be able to run that down from the back row.
Out of bounds, an attack error by the Cyclones. Offensively for them, 18 kills out of Shaban, 13 for Capizio, 9 for Miranda. The Panthers now have 3 members in double-digit kills, and Amy Held with 14, Hainline with 11, and Thomas with 11, and Barb, it's hard to believe, but that is another service ace. That's the 6th. 6 service aces for the Panthers tonight.
Well, and that one, the Panthers were lucky it hit the net because that's what caused that service ace. And we've been asked in the past, do you practice those serves like that hit the net? There's no way to practice that.
Ball tipped, last touch by Iowa State, and the Panthers rocking and rolling. They surge ahead 9-8 here, as you see on the replay.
And a 4-point run.
4-0 Panthers. Hainline, the top returner offensively. Another service ace.
As a passer, that is so frustrating. You think you're in great position, you're right there, and the ball just shoots off your arm the right way and the wrong way, and it just is so frustrating.
Substitution, Kurt will head to the sideline. We'll have a timeout on the court. UNI first did the double digits, leading 10-8 here in the fourth. If the Panthers win this fourth, they will win the match. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. McLeod has been rocking here tonight. And this was heading into 2016. Well, this is the first match of 2016. 98 victories, just 21 losses. Barb, you played in and you coached in the West Gym, the historic West Gym, which is home to UNI Volleyball. That had a certain advantage to it, but this beautiful venue is real nice for volleyball, basketball as well.
It is. It's a great size. You can get in the West Gym. I think we could get 2,200 or something like that, and that kind of bothered the fire marshal a little bit when we got to those numbers. But it was such an enclosed atmosphere. It was such a great home court advantage. But this is so much more comfortable for the fans. You can get more people in, and they can still create a great atmosphere. And there's a huge jumbotron that's showing everything that's going on. It has different parts of different things from the players to kind of show some personality and get to know the players a little bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility.
And the fans that have come out tonight to fill the McLeod Center Arena have been entertained by a great matchup. Iowa State comes to town from Ames. Last year the Panthers traveled to Ames, and incredible.
She's got that angle down. That is, I mean, Iowa State has adjusted a little bit to cover that, and she still got an ace from it. It's just a hard angle to serve. Now
they're bringing the libero up to that spot, and that was close to a service ace again. There's the side out the Cyclones desperately needed. The Panthers lead by 2.
When you can see off that block, it just went off the middle blocker's inside hand. Just a little bit of a gap there between the blockers. And she was able to catch that inside arm, and no defender could play it. Sorry, I got caught up because there's some question going on the court, and I'm always trying to figure out what it is, but they don't always give hand signals. I don't know if Iowa State thinks they're in the right rotation, but that's one of the things a coach can check. So a coach can go up to the line judge and say, before they get into trouble or do anything, hey, are we in the right rotation? And then they can make adjustments if they aren't.
Panthers. Miscommunication on their side of the net. See if the Cyclones can take advantage. Oh, miscommunication on their side. Some sloppy play here on this.
And that's why I'd set Jess Shaban higher. She has a nice reach. She hits the ball from a high point, and that was pretty.
Those go-go gadget arms make her get up, reach for the stars. And the Cyclones now in double digits. Bart, this match has gone on 2.5 hours, and we're not even in potentially that 5th set yet. It's been some long, long rallies.
Yeah, he's right.
Back row attack against UNI.
So what happened on that, we talked about it in the first set, but that was so long ago, maybe we don't remember. That white line that you see kind of running through the middle of the court, that's the 3-meter line or the 10-foot line, and a back row player has to jump from behind that line and contact
somehow kept the ball off the court. Blocked and out of bounds, and we're tied at 3 apiece.
we don't expect anything different.
3-3 our score here. Again, Shaban with 20 kills, 14 for Capizio, 12 for Miranda for Iowa State. Held with 20 kills for UNI, Thomas with 13, Hainline with 11. Take a timeout to clean up some sweat here. The Cyclones, they've won 4 straight. They feel like they're starting to put some big pieces of the puzzle together as they get set for what's coming. As they host Marquette, Missouri State, and then on the 21st, Kansas State and TCU to start Big 12 competition. I don't think anyone's thinking about Big 12 and Missouri Valley Conference right now. These two schools have it dialed in on the opponent directly across the net from them. And the Panthers stopped the 3-0 Cyclone run with a side out. Big swing, sails out of bounds. The cross-court attack. Here's the replay.
Nice idea. It's a good angle. You can see if she hits that angle, it's not defensible. The left front player held is scooted in for tips. And so if she gets that angle, Held's either going to get her head taken off or it'll just go in and be a kill.
Yeah, she smoked it, but just a little too long out of bounds. That one's in. Great placement. Amy Held with 21. The senior leading the way, the captain. First team All-Missouri Valley Conference last year. Started the first 17 matches of the season at libero. Made the final 17 starts in the 6-player rotation, the sports psychology major, minoring in coaching. And Barb, regardless if UNI wins or loses this, they have to take something away from it. I mean, even if they were to lose it, to go up against a great team, a great program like Iowa State, heading into a real tough tournament in a real tough MVC.
Well, and a lot of times you do take more away from a loss than you do from a win, and you can take that into the gym and work on those things the next day. But it's hard to say that every loss is, like a moral victory. You got to pull some of them out, and I do think that it's been an amazing match, and it's definitely winnable for either team. And that's why we have such a great crowd here, is because people want to see great volleyball. They're fired up after watching the Olympics, and they want to see some more great volleyball.
They're seeing great volleyball. I'm seeing some elementary school kids that are still going strong, and it's almost 10 o'clock.
Well, and that's why it's important to bring kids out, not because it's late at night, but so that they can dream, so that they can see these women out here and be like, I want to be out on that court someday.
These Division I student athletes pouring their heart and soul out onto the court here tonight. They're going to have bumps and bruises and scrapes and trying to help their team secure the win. Point for Iowa State, 6-4 now the score. Play to 15, win by 2.
And there's no cap.
Correct, as we learned in the 40-38 victory for UNI in the second set, when it was supposed to be to 25.
There used to be a cap in the 5th game of 17, and that's gone away.
Ball tips off the top of the net, goes over to UNI's side, and it's quickly returned on the slide. Fans, that's Kayla Hainline. Nice look at the senior. Love the slow motion. And a big-time kill to put the Panthers up 3 here in the 5th. She has a dozen. Cyclones in system, back set, out of bounds. Nice idea to go sideline to sideline, maybe too direct of an angle.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you're going to go that sharp of an angle, you really, really have to snap your wrist so the ball does have a downward trajectory.
8-4. The teams switch sides. The cheerleaders switch sides.
Everybody switches sides. I better switch sides for my paperwork.
And let's see what happens here as the Panthers were on a bit of a run. Switch sides.
It's almost like a mini timeout.
Trying to stay focused, locked in. There's the kill the Cyclones needed. Jess Shaban, 22 kills. And I don't want to sound too critical, but she has not been as effective as of late. She jumped out, had 15 kills right away, but the Panthers have been doing some things to keep her in check just a little bit more.
Well, in that time, the Cyclones moved her in and ran her on a high middle ball, a 2-ball, which they haven't done all match. So mixing it up a little bit to get her open, to get her some kills.
8-6. Bobby Peterson calls a timeout as you see the replay on your screen. 8-6. Panthers with the lead. Well, the current McLeod Center attendance mark 6,621. Have yet to hear the official attendance here, but UNI ranked in the top 15 in the nation the last several years, averaging 2,277 fans per match.
Well, and I think it's safe to say that it's going to be the attendance tonight. The funny thing is the top 5 volleyball attendance for the McLeod Center are all against Iowa State. So I think it's safe to say that if tonight's not in the top 5, it's real close to it.
I would definitely agree with that.
The range is between 5,100 people and 6,600 people here watching.
The fans from Ames have traveled here as well for this midweek matchup, and it is the home opener for the UNI Panthers. Their first home match of the year. We're already in the 4th week of the new school year here at the University of Northern Iowa.
That seems like
already mid-September.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The student section directly behind the Iowa State Cyclones, Haley Hilligus out of Charles City. Here's the serve, and it's a service error. Home court advantage might have had something to do with it, and it's now 9-6 Panthers. As Hainline, remember, she strung together those service aces earlier in the match.
We better knock on wood for the old broadcaster's jinx.
Nice serve, back set slide, and it goes right off of Hainline, who is in the right spot, but That ball was coming at her pretty.
Well, in the ball was kind of hit right kind of at her chest, stomach area, and that's hard. You can't really take it overhand, and you can't, if you try and take it with a pass, it's going to hit your elbows or upper arms rather than your forearms, so it's hard to know what to do with that ball.
Limited options. Panthers in system. Good pass, nice set, the good swing. Quickly returned. What a smart play by Grace Lazard.
Well, and that
Catch
came
this.
back fast. Oh, I think it was Harris, actually. She's the setter, and she's practiced that move with her left hand, and that was fast. Had some speed on it.
Panthers get the point. First to double digits here in the 5th set. Take a look. Ball hit the antenna, did not go over to the Panther side of the net. And here's Heather Hook, the quarterback for the Panthers. Back row attack by Held. Blocked at the net. Blocked at the net. And it's the Cyclones. Grace Lazard with the block.
Well, and Weber had to go up after that time.
10-9. Here we go. The libero, Abby Fillett, sophomore out of Central City, Iowa. Played her high school volleyball in Marion. Quick set, directly down to the court. Piper Thomas, a true sophomore out of Jessup, Iowa.
Well, and that's why middles want to be up quick and early and let the setter know you're there. She had a double block on her, but it came from the left side of the court, so she could hit to the right back corner.
Bobby Peterson said Piper's potential is limitless. Looking forward to watching her blossom over the next couple of years. Hook, back set, Schultz. Tip. Still alive. Hook was down on the court. Look at this effort.
Well, and that's one of those things, they need to get up off the floor faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to do. It's easy for us to sit here and say that, but
They've been officially playing 3 hours now.
huh.
A long battle.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that volleyball moved to the rally scoring, was to shorten up and make it a little bit more predictable, the length of a volleyball match for TV matches.
Well, I hope you, the TV viewers, are enjoying this one. It's going right down to the wires. We head on down the home stretch here in the 5th set. Panthers in the white tops, purple bottoms are celebrating. They're up 12-10 over the Iowa State Cyclones. The UNI Panthers defeated the Cyclones in football just a couple of weeks ago. And now the Panthers are trying to take care of business here in volleyball. And UNI men's basketball beat Iowa State last year, too. Quick set. Near sideline, cross-court swing, kept alive, joust. Panthers reset. Got it down. You betcha. 13-10.
What a smart shot by Held. She didn't hit it hard, but she rolled it to that deep corner. The libero was able to get a hand on it, but because it was so deep in the corner, not able to play it.
13-10. UNI just 2 points away from winning this matchup against the Cyclones. Cyclones trying to get a side out. Not happening there. That'll bring up match point for the UNI Panthers.
Nice job. Good job by Hainline getting over there even a little bit late to close with Schultz.
So it's match point. UNI needs just one more point.
And that's
They
it.
got it. UNI Panthers defeat the Iowa State Cyclones again. Basketball, football, and volleyball. It's a Panther state. 15-10 the final in the 5th set.